We all saw Hillary fall. Hillary Clinton, on September 11th, and I've waited a few days to comment on this, Hillary Clinton fell. She collapsed at a 9/11 memorial. Actually, she left early. She was waiting for a van, started to have some sort of a medical episode, was held up by Secret Service agents and aides, and cell phone video, no media there. Media not allowed to follow her, and cell phone video captured her clearly collapsing, leaving her feet. If you haven't seen this, please just go Google Hillary Clinton collapses. Pause the video and come back. Because it's important that you see it for yourself. She collapsed. A major party presidential candidate. A household name. What it looks like, she went unconscious and was hauled into a van by Secret Service agents. She even left a shoe behind. She was obviously off her feet because someone on their feet can't lose their shoe. This is someone dragged into a van. Now, this video is not about Hillary's health. It's not about she's unfit to be president. It's not about helping Donald Trump. It's not about supporting Donald Trump. I don't support any candidate. Voting is violence. I'm an anarchist. The reason I waited a few days was because I knew what was coming next. And predictably, it happened. This video is about the media. And it's about the state. The whole world saw Hillary Clinton collapse, leave her feet, be thrown into a van, carried into a van by Secret Service agents. This is huge news. Huge. And on the anniversary of September 11th. And yet now that you've seen her collapse, why don't you go and Google some stories from CNN, NBC, Washington Post, New York Times, the big LA Times, the big respectable outlets, MSNBC, CBS. I want you to find a single story that says Hillary Clinton collapsed. Yes, we can expect them to parrot the mouthpieces of the Clinton camp, saying first she was overheated, then she got pneumonia, or she had pneumonia, now we're releasing this. We can expect them to parrot that. And there's no way for us to know really if that's true or not. There's also no way for them to know if that's true or not. They can only report on what they've been told because, one, they weren't there when it happened. They were not allowed to follow her afterwards. So the only information they have is the access that they have to the campaign. This is normal. However, we all saw her collapse, and they all saw her collapse from multiple angles because there were multiple people shooting cell phone video. And yet, if you look at their stories, they all say she was a little wobbly on her feet. She was helped into the van by aides. Wobbly on her feet, a little unsteady on her feet. we all saw her collapse. And we all know the difference between someone who's unsteady on their feet and someone who goes unconscious and has to be put into a vehicle. And there's a very big difference. I don't vote. And any real anarchist, voluntarist, doesn't vote either. Because we don't accept the legitimacy of the voting process because it's a part of the state. It's a way for individuals to legitimize the state, which we won't do. But for those people who do vote, that's a big deal. Someone who's not yet in office, who's collapsing. Why are they collapsing? This is something that a voter, that would be of public interest to a voter. But it's one thing for the media, the major media, to have kid gloves for a candidate who may become president, who they will need access to. I get that. I get that. These are private businesses that a lot of their money and a lot of their ratings come from their access to the government, particularly at the highest rated time for news, which is what? During war. They need to be able to put their people embedded. They need to be able to talk to the generals. They need to not get kicked out of the White House press room. They need to be able to attend those press conferences. And not only that, the individuals who are involved, they like that access. They like going to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And you can't blame the people in government. You can't blame the state for keeping a cozy relationship with these people. But when it's reached a point of 1984, George Orwell style, no, you didn't see that. When you've got someone on a television channel and all of the television channels and all of their reporting cut. They show her wobble a little and then they cut. They don't show the next 5 seconds where that's the beginning of her fainting, collapsing. And so you're saying to me, you say, well, Vin, I saw it. I know that the media is lying. I know that the media is twisting things. I know that there's propaganda, but it's not for you. And that's the part. First, if your TV's not gone, if you're still watching cable news, believe me, you are allowing yourself to be programmed, because for every instant where you saw her fall and you could look at the TV and be like, no, that's not what I saw. There are 100 where they're doing the same thing on an issue that you didn't see. Because that's who that's for. And this is where most people get their news. Most people are not getting their news from alternative media. Look at the small amount of views on this video itself. Millions of people are watching these networks at any given time. And that's the last bastion. It should be, throw out your TV. If that should be it, throw out your TV and work for a stateless society. That should be the moment. Hillary fell, media doesn't talk about it, because at this point, you have to assume that it's all propaganda. And while you may vote, the vast majority of people voting are getting their news from a propaganda organ. So how could it be a real vote? How can you vote your self-interest? And how could you ever vote somebody out who was doing wrong? Yeah, we know about Hillary Clinton's emails, but we don't even know the full scope. How hard has it been, like pulling teeth, to get this information? And that's only because she's running for president. Had she not ran for president, this probably never would have even came up. So think about how systemic it is. And what you're not being told. What they can't tell you because they risk losing access. There is no voting someone out. There is no changing the system from the inside because you can't even see what the road is ahead of you. It's someone putting a blindfold on you and leading you down a road and telling you what's outside. You can't follow Hillary Clinton around. You can't ask her questions. If the only people who can follow her around and who can ask her questions are not, how could you vote for her? Or Trump? Or Gary Johnson? Or Jill Stein? Or fucking anybody? It's time to take a step back, toss the TV, get rid of the cable. If you care to know what's going on in the world, you're going to have to find it for yourself. And if you don't have the time, it's still much better to be uninformed than to be misinformed. Because Hillary Clinton wasn't unsteady on her feet. Hillary Clinton collapsed.